The alert level was recently raised at a volcano which has not erupted in more than 5,000 years in response to an ongoing storm of earthquakes. What I am referring to is a Chilean volcano known as Nevado de Longavi, which can be found 54 kilometers east-southeast of the town of Longavi and had its alert level raised on May 22, 2026. This volcano had until around May 20th shown essentially no signs of life, so it was a bit of a surprise when an earthquake storm began at fairly shallow depths. This earthquake storm was not centered directly underneath the middle of its highly eroded up to 613,000-year-old edifice, but rather at a spot 4.5 kilometers to its southwest. During the subsequent several days, more than 400 earthquakes struck in the vicinity at around 3 kilometers or 1.86 miles depth, several of which were in the magnitude 3 and 4 range. This occurred alongside 5 long-period earthquakes and 1 tremor event. Since this did not occur alongside any uplift or change in geothermal vents, in my opinion, I do not think the current unrest is due to actively rising magma. Don't get me wrong, a small volume of magma could have very well intruded into the deep crust, but there is no direct evidence of such. What I do think occurred was a change in its hydrothermal system, possibly due to increased heat at some level, maybe even due to slow magma accumulation below 5 kilometers depth. This is thus potentially sending increased non-magmatic fluids to shallower depths, which lubricate faults, making it easier for them to slip and generate volcanotectonic earthquakes. As for the detection of multiple long-period events and 1 tremor, I suspect that the tremor was simply a continuous instance of long-period or volcanotectonic events so closely spaced in time that it couldn't be visually separated into multiple events. In these 2 types of earthquakes, I can best explain by hydrothermal fluids moving through cracks beneath the ground. While I am being purely theoretical here, I do want to note that a change in the hydrothermal system of a volcano can be the first sign of unrest when a broader, eventually to be magmatic unrest is occurring. However, sometimes heat or pressure or batches of gas can just get released from a magma chamber without ever having a chance of producing an eruption. We just don't know. Regardless, there is now a 3-kilometer exclusion zone in all directions surrounding Nevado de Longavi's summit due to the ongoing unrest. Yet, unless another sign of unrest eventually pops up, in my opinion, an eruption in the short to midterm future is unlikely. Now, some background information about this volcano. Nevado de Longavi is a predominantly andesitic dacite composition stratovolcano which has been intermittently erupting for at least 613,000 years. With a volume of 20 cubic kilometers, this volcano in recent times has erupted at a seemingly low rate, with only 2 Holocene eruptions. Both of these eruptions occurred from event at the summit, with the first eruption in 5650 BCE outputting large volumes of dacite pumice. Then, in 3750 BCE, the volcano erupted again, producing a growing dacite lava dome at its summit. This lava dome periodically collapsed either in part or in full, producing numerous pyroclastic flows which clearly ran out at least up to 5,500 meters. This formed the thick pink-tinted block and ash deposits on its eastern side which enter a local river. Everything to me suggests that those 2 Holocene eruptions are both highly explosive, and while not an official figure, in my opinion, I'd estimate the VEIs of those 2 eruptions as a 4 and 3 respectively. If Nevado de Longavi was to erupt again, it could be equally explosive or less so. We really don't have a large recent sample size to go off of. However, while no one lives nearby, a number of people live within what in my opinion are the potential reach of large volume lahars. This is mainly because Longavi has a glacier which could melt in part at a minimum during an eruption, and eruptive products would likely get funneled into one of its multiple drainages during a future volcanic eruption. I am of the opinion that the existing Lahar inundation maps are too conservative with their estimates and should be rechecked. Stay tuned for more updates. As a final note, I would like to thank this channel's patrons on Patreon and channel members on YouTube for supporting my work.